Hello and welcome to today's session on educational psychology. I'm truly delighted to be with you as we explore this fascinating field that lies at the heart of teaching and learning. You see, education is not just about textbooks, exams, or classrooms, it is about shaping minds, nurturing potential, and guiding individuals to grow into well rounded human beings. But here's a question to begin with. Can education succeed without truly understanding how learners think, feel, and behave? This is where psychology enters the picture. Psychology helps us understand the inner world of the learner, their motivations, emotions, strengths, and struggle, while education provides the platform to apply that understanding in real life. Together, they form a powerful partnership, psychology as the science of behavior and education as the art of shaping it. In this session, we will journey through the meaning, nature, and scope of educational psychology. We will see how it supports teachers in understanding students, in designing effective methods of teaching, and in creating learner centered environments. Most importantly, we will discover how psychology and education, when combined, lay the foundation for holistic development, intellectual, emotional, and social. So, as we begin, I invite you to reflect. Think back to your own school or college days. Was there a teacher who seemed to really understand you? Who taught in a way that made learning come alive? That's the power of educational psychology in action. The modern education system is highly complex and no single learning method suits everyone. Education psychologists focus on discovering and developing learning strategies to better understand how individuals absorb and retain knowledge. Drawing upon the theories of human development, these professionals help shape effective teaching practices. While their primary role often involves working directly with teachers and students in schools, their influence extends far beyond that. Learning is a continuous process that occurs not just in formal educational settings, but also in workplaces, social interactions, and everyday tasks like shopping or managing household chores. Educational psychologists study how learning occurs in diverse environments to devise techniques that can enhance the learning experience across contexts. Meaning and evolution of psychology. Human behavior is one of the most intricate phenomena in the universe. To explore it, early philosophers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle laid foundational ideas. Psychology gradually emerged from philosophy, becoming a bridge between philosophical thought and biological science. While physiology studied the structure and function of the nervous system, psychology focuses on the mental processes that occur within it and how these manifest in behavior, speech, and thought. Where philosophy is concerned with abstract ideas, psychology seeks to understand how these ideas originate and what they reveal about mental functioning. The American Psychological Association defines psychology as the scientific study of the mind and behavior. It is a diverse field encompassing subdisciplines such as human development, health, education, clinical practice, sports, social behavior, and cognitive science. The term psychology comes from the Greek word psyche, which connotes soul, and the logos means study, originally meaning the study of the soul. In earlier times, psychology aimed to examine the nature, origin, and the fate of the soul. However, because the soul is metaphysical and beyond direct observation or scientific experimentation, this definition became inadequate. During the 18th century, psychology was redefined as the science of the mind. William James described it as the study of mental processes, yet the term mind proved ambiguous as its nature and function remained unclear. Later psychologists defined psychology as the science of consciousness. Thinkers like James Saley and Wilhelm Wundt contributed to this definition, emphasizing internal experiences. However, this too had limitations. Consciousness exists at three levels: conscious, subconscious, and unconscious, and studying it through introspection was criticized for being highly subjective and lacking scientific rigor. Over time, psychology moved away from abstract concepts like the soul, mind, and consciousness. Modern definitions focus on observable behavior, which can be measured and studied objectively. William McDougall, Felsbury, and J.B. Watson all described psychology as the science of behavior. Behavior in this context refers to overt activities that can be seen and quantified. However, to fully understand behavior, one must also consider the individual's internal experiences and past interactions. B.F. Skinner expanded this view by defining psychology as the scientific study of both behavior and experience. According to Crow and Crow, psychology is the study of human behavior and relationships. Early definitions of psychology as the study of the soul were based on philosophical concepts but lacked clarity and scientific basis. Similarly, the definition focusing on the mind was eventually discarded for being too vague. The consciousness based definition was also found to be limited since it failed to include elemental behavior, subconscious processes, and relied heavily on introspection, a method criticizing for its subjectivity. The most widely accepted modern definition sees psychology as the study of behavior. McDougall described it as a science aiming to help us understand and control the behavior of living organisms. J.B. Watson emphasized that psychology should examine both human and animal behavior. Educational psychology. Educational psychology is a distinct field within psychology that applies psychological principles and findings to the educational context. It focuses on the scientific study of human behavior as it occurs in educational settings. As stated by Charles E. Skinner, educational psychology deals with the behavior of human beings in educational situations. This indicates that it is a behavioral science that revolves around two key aspects: human behavior and education. Similarly, E. A. Peale defined it as the science of education. Education, in all its forms, is essentially an effort to influence and shape student behavior to bring about positive and comprehensive personality development. To fulfill this purpose effectively, educators require specific knowledge and skills, resources provided by educational psychology. As Peale explains, educational psychology supports teachers in understanding students' growth patterns, learning abilities, and learning processes and their social interactions. In a similar way that an engineer provides technical expertise for constructing infrastructure like bridges, an educational psychologist offers vital insights, strategies, and tools necessary for influencing and understanding learners' behavior in an educational environment, aiming at their overall personality development. Therefore, educational psychology can be regarded as both a science and a technology of education. The central focus of educational psychology is to examine and enhance the process of teaching and learning, especially in formal educational settings. It explores themes such as learning theories, instructional strategies, motivation, cognitive and emotional development, moral education, and relationships between children and parents. Let us move towards nature of educational psychology. Educational psychology is recognized as a scientific discipline within the domain of education. Its nature can be explained through the following aspects. Number one, it's a science. Science is a structured field that relies on the observation, data collection, and the establishment of general principles. Educational psychology follows this same approach, using systematic, objective methods to understand, predict, and manage human behavior. It is a natural science. Educational psychologists gather and analyze data in a manner similar to experts in physics or biology, applying empirical research methods to educational problems. It is a social science. Like sociologists or political scientists, educational psychologists examine human beings in relation to their social behavior and contexts, especially within educational environments. It is a positive science. Unlike normative sciences such as ethics, which deal with ideals, positive sciences focus on what actually is. Educational psychology investigates actual learner behaviors rather than what they should ideally be. It's an applied science. Educational psychology is practical in nature. It brings psychological theories and practices into educational setting to understand students' behavior and experiences. It is a developing science. It continues to evolve with new research, allowing educational psychologists to gain deeper insights into learners' behaviors and characteristics. Scope of educational psychology. Educational psychology has a dynamic and expanding scope, largely due to ongoing research. Its scope is illustrated through the following major areas. The learner. The core of educational psychology is the learner. It explores the learner's inborn potential, individual differences, both visible and hidden behaviors, as well as their cognitive and emotional development throughout various life stages. The teacher. Teachers are vital to any educational process. Educational psychology highlights the importance of self-awareness for teachers and examine their emotional states, aspirations, personality traits, interests, and teaching abilities, empowering them to become more effective educators. Learning experiences. It aids in determining what type of learning experiences are most appropriate at different developmental stages, ensuring learners gain maximum benefit and satisfaction from those experiences. Learning process. Beyond the learner and learning content, educational psychology studies how learning occurs. It involves exploration of learning laws and theories, memory, forgetting, perception, thinking, problem solving, concept formation, and ways to enhance learning efficiency. Learning environment. This area focuses on external conditions that influence learning. It includes classroom atmosphere, group dynamics, instructional tools, evaluation techniques, as well as counseling and guidance services, all contributing to effective learning. Even though the 5 dimensions above encompassing much of educational psychology, its scope extends further. Human behavior in educational context. Education is essentially a behavioral transformation process, and since psychology studies behavior, educational psychology becomes relevant across the entire educational spectrum. Growth and development of the child. It covers the stage of child development and their respective characteristics to better inform teaching approaches. Heredity and environment. It analyzes the contribution of both genetic and environmental influences on student development and uses this understanding to foster optimal growth. Personality development. Education aims to cultivate a well-rounded personality. Educational psychology therefore investigates how personality is shaped and how a balanced personality can be nurtured. Individual differences. No two individuals are alike. Educational psychology has illuminated this truth, which has revolutionized the way we approach education. Individual variations in ability and behavior are now a central focus. Nature and measurement of intelligence. Understanding and assessing intelligence is vital for educators, and educational psychology plays a crucial role in this area. Guidance and counseling. At its core, education is about guiding learners. Educational psychology offers structured frameworks for effective guidance and counseling. To summarize, educational psychology is more specialized than a general psychology. While general psychology examines behavior in a broad context, educational psychology focuses specifically on learners' behavior within educational environments. Now, let us talk about the relationship between education and psychology. Education and psychology are closely interrelated and enhance one another. While education is concerned with what should be learned, psychology deals with how learning occurs. Since the aim of education is to bring about positive behavioral change, and psychology is the scientific study of behavior, having an understanding of human behavior becomes essential for successfully modifying it through education. Psychology lays the groundwork that education applies in real-world teaching and learning environments. Although psychology is a more comprehensive field, education utilizes its findings to shape and improve instructional practices. To fully grasp how the two are connected, it's important to first understand the definition of both. Education refers to the systematic and intentional process of shaping behavior, whereas psychology provides the scientific tools to analyze and interpret that behavior. Hence, the relationship between education and psychology is both logical and practical. Additionally, awareness of a child's growth stages and behavioral patterns is vital for effective teaching. Earlier, models of education were more teacher dominated and focused primarily on the subject matter. However, contemporary educational approaches emphasize the learner, giving priority to students' needs, abilities, and interests. In this respect, psychology has a significant influence on every aspect of education. Some of the points of interconnection between the two fields are as psychology and aim of education. There are so many ideals and aims of education, but psychology helps to fix the aim of education which can be practically achieved. It helps in achieving the aims of education, keeping in view the individual differences. Psychology and curriculum. Psychology broadens the scope of the curriculum by supporting the integration of both academic and co-curricular activities to foster the holistic development of a child. It underlines the importance of incorporating games and sports, educational trips, exhibitions, stage plays, debates, films, screening, drawing, painting, and other such activities alongside academic subjects for comprehensive child development. Psychology and method of teaching. Psychology emphasizes the use of creative and engaging teaching methods to enhance the effectiveness of teaching and learning. It promotes the application of varied instructional techniques to cater to the diverse learning styles of students. Techniques such as the Playway method, project method, problem-solving method, Montessori method, inquiry method, heuristic method, and activity-based learning are the contribution of psychology to education. Psychology and teacher. Understanding psychology enables teacher to comprehend learners and the learning process and the learning environment. It fosters a compassionate, affectionate, and supportive attitude in teachers towards their student. Psychology and textbooks. Psychological principles guide the creation and design of textbooks to suit students' psychological development. It ensures that books are tailored to the child's age, grade level, interests, and needs. For instance, textbooks for early learners are enriched with vibrant visuals, images, diagrams, engaging activities, and illustrations, making them appealing, colorful, meaningful, and enjoyable for children. Psychology and timetable. Knowledge of psychology assists in designing a well-structured school timetable. Subjects are arranged based on their difficulty level and the mental fatigue they may cause. For example, challenging subjects are not scheduled back to back. Furthermore, appropriate time is allocated for co-curricular activities within the school day to support overall development. Psychology and audiovisual aids. Psychology supports the use of audiovisual material in the educational process. It maintains that learning improves with greater sensory involvement. Such aids help maintain students' focus and enhance understanding. Therefore, the use of audiovisual tools makes learning more effective, enjoyable, and long-lasting. Psychology and discipline. Psychological insights assist educators in managing issues related to student misbehavior. The contemporary concept of discipline is rooted in psychological understanding. Psychology and evaluation. Psychology advocates for objective and scientific method of assessing student performance. The concept of continuous and comprehensive evaluation in schools stems from psychological foundations. Systems like the semester model, grading techniques, and choice-based credit system also have their root in psychological research. Psychology and administration. Psychology has transformed educational administration from an authoritarian to a more democratic style. It promotes a collaborative and participative approach in managing relationships among students, teachers, and staff. Psychology and research. Psychology plays a significant role in investigating educational challenges through research. It aids in the development of tools and strategies to enhance the teaching learning experience. Research findings from psychology help in shaping, guiding, controlling, and predicting learner behavior within the educational setting. Psychology and innovation. Psychology introduced progressive and novel methods to improve educational practices. Strategies such as project based learning, competency based learning, scenario based learning, ICT integration, flipped classroom, blended learning, collaborative and experiential learning, discovery based learning, role play, peer tutoring, MOOCs, and digital textbooks are all educational innovations grounded in psychological theories. As we come to the end of our session, let us take a moment to reflect on what we have explored together. Educational psychology is not just a branch of psychology, it is the living bridge between psychology and education. It brings scientific insights about human behavior, learning, and development into the classroom, making the teaching learning process more effective, meaningful, and learner centered. Most importantly, education psychology provides teachers with tools not only improve academic performance but also to nurture emotional well-being, resilience, and positive behavior in learners. In this sense, it truly deserves to be called the science of education. So, let us carry this understanding forward. Teaching is not merely about imparting knowledge, but about shaping lives. And psychology, when applied to education, helps do this with compassion, effectiveness, and purpose. Thank you for being the part of this session. I hope it inspires you to see education not just as instruction, but as a journey of growth, one that is deeply supported and enriched by psychology. Have a good day.